This week's been really good for me. 2 wins and another man of the match, and my Premier League full debut was amazing. So it is, but we played really well today, and it was a good game. So 3 points, and we keep looking forward. But you need to trust in yourself and your own ability on the ball. That's first. And then you have to start thinking about the game. So when you're going into the game feeling confident and exciting, just need to keep it moving, keep it simple, and then when you start to settle into the game, and then you can start hitting the longer passes or try to play more forward passes or shooting. But no, it's been really good, so it has, and I've enjoyed it.
First Premier League start as well, what was it like for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. Dream come true to make my full debut in the Premier League, but most of all getting the 3 points and carrying on winning, and hopefully we continue that in the way forward.
When did you find out you were starting today?
This morning, just before the game, we do a meeting and get told the team. So yeah.
Was he nervous?
He knew before the game. The day before the game.
Oh, okay.
Nah,
fair enough.
but yeah, he's done very well again today, and he's good already for 18 years old. Young player, you know, he's got a great maturity, and he also listening to the advice.
Incredible couple of weeks for young Billy Gilmour, 18 years old. Liam Toomey of The Athletic says first Premier League starts are not supposed to look this composed. Gilmour completed 74 of his 80 attempted passes, more than anyone else on the pitch. Many of them were short and simple, and a good number were forward. Every one of them helped Chelsea move the ball with pace, precision, purpose around Everton's half-hearted press and into their front three. I was at Stamford Bridge. I'm blown away by him. Blown away by him. He looked like Paul Scholes with brown hair.
He was extraordinary, and I think you nailed it really, that willingness to show for the ball, the willingness to make stuff happen. And I mean, you heard him talking about it there in his interview, the confidence, and it's absolutely what they needed with no Kovacic, with no Jorginho. You know, there was a big question, a big hole really to fill, and he absolutely managed to do that. And I think it's very interesting how Lampard's kind of kept this second wave of kids for the closing stanza of the season. It's really interesting to see how it's working.
Well, on those kids, at the end, at full time, there were, and we'll go back to Billy Gilmour, but just to pick up on Andy's point, 3 18-year-olds on the pitch. I'm going to have to even look through my notes to see the other ones' names because I can't remember them. It was Broja and Angerin, both 18 as well, both come through the academy. Of course, Billy Gilmour came from Rangers and then came through Chelsea's academy. But he's used 11 academy graduates since he took over.
It's fantastic.
Given them in terms of Premier League minutes.
Yeah, and fair play to him. You know, it's absolutely brilliant to do that, and especially at a club like Chelsea, where although obviously we know Frank Lampard's sort of status at the club buys him sometimes, especially with the supporters, not necessarily with the club itself. Transfer ban obviously was an issue, but I think, to be fair to Frank, he wanted to do this anyway. I think that was always his plan, to do this. And to be fair to Chelsea, I think they want to do it as well. I think they finally feel there's a group of players here, excuse me, who are good enough to actually do that and come through. They've tried to do it in the past, it hasn't worked. Not necessarily because the players aren't good enough, some of them maybe weren't good enough, but because they didn't have the patience. And the manager pays the price and goes. And even Conte, you know, I remember somebody said to me a while ago at Chelsea, Loftus-Cheek was always the best player in training, always the best player. But come match day, Conte will say, yeah, but, you know, can I really put him in, because what happens if it doesn't? And that was always the issue at Chelsea, because, you know, they talk a good game about bringing through young players and giving them a chance, but there was always that, you've got to win. You've got to win, because if you don't win, two defeats is a crisis. That's changed slightly, it's changed quite dramatically actually this season. I think Frank was under quite a bit of pressure a couple of weeks ago. I think it was you're starting to look at it and thinking like, well, where is this heading? And he was bringing in with the older players back, wasn't he? And you're thinking, like, hang on a minute, there aren't any kids on the pitch anymore. There's only maybe, you know, maybe Tammy Abraham or Mason Mount, and that was about it. But actually, you know, again, necessity's brought this about, partly through injuries and suspension. Gilmour's, just going back to Gilmour, what I like about Gilmour is he's such an unusual British player. We just don't really have players like this. I mean, it's that player that England would cry out for. Scotland, I'm Scottish actually, they can't tell by the accent. I'm sitting there thinking like, when did we last have a player like that play for Scotland?
Well, look at Scotland's options, McTominay and Gilmour.
I know, suddenly it's looking an awful...
Yeah,
exactly, suddenly it's looking fantastic for Scotland. But I mean, how England would cry out for a player like that as well, because you know, if Gareth Southgate, obviously I know, Steve Clarke will bring him, he's in the 21s at the moment, they'll bring him through. But you're looking at me. I mean, he would be fast tracked into the England squad. He really
the first
would.
Scottish player to play for Chelsea since Steve Clarke.
Okay, all right.
nice
So,
to see
but because of that profile of player, it's so rare in the English game, in the British game. It's just unusual.
It's really interesting. I think it's a sign of how the Premier League's moved on as well, because a guy like that doesn't get the chance to play in the centre of midfield. I reckon 10, 12 years ago in the Premier League.
No, I agree.
And there's a different perception of what a Premier League midfielder can be, and it's guys like David Silva, Luka Modric, who've changed all that and paved the way for him to be there.
Yeah, and look, for those watching who don't know much about Billy Gilmour, you can see in that interview, the camera had to really pan down. He's about 5'6". He probably weighs about 8 stone. Wet through. I mean,
doesn't even look 18,
tiny.
does he?
He doesn't look 18.
14,
and the composure he had in that game against Liverpool in the FA Cup, but then against an Everton side who've been going really well. And there was such an organic side to it, because he started, as Liam said in the Athletic, little passes, not risking too much, and he just developed.
Which shows a maturity to his game,
Yeah.
doesn't it, as well? To do that, that's what they say classically. What you should do, play yourself into the game. He did that. He become more assured, and then obviously you develop your game beyond that and become more ambitious in the way you play. So and there was lots of stuff written about him last week in terms of when he obviously his background and so on. This link with Barcelona is genuine. They genuinely were interested in him. And
before he played against Liverpool.
Before he joined Chelsea.
Okay.
They were interested in him.
Yeah.
Genuinely interested in him, because he's a Barcelona star player, isn't he?
Oh, absolutely.
And how many of those come from Scotland?
Yeah, not many.
Probably Steve Archibald.
And today was another example of that after Liverpool. So 2 really good games. Of course there'll be challenges along the way, but I'm very, very happy with him. I trust him as a young boy. 18 means nothing to me. The age is nothing when you play with the personality that he plays.
Billy, here you are again. Another good performance. Did Sky give you man of the match again?
Yep.
Did they? What are you going to do with all the booze? Do they do? Oh, they don't do booze anymore. What do they do? What was it you got? Is it a medal?
No, it was like a little
Trophy.
Yeah, it's like a trophy. Yeah, a trophy.
You enjoyed that then?
Yeah, it was good.
Good game, wasn't it? And,
really good.
We were just talking about the second goal, the Pedro goal. You into Giroud, into Ross, straight into Pedro. Lovely clicky football today. It must have felt nice playing.
Yeah, it was really good playing. So it was the amount of times that we were playing forward and getting between the lines and playing wide, making the box. That happened a lot today. And today we took our chances. 4-0, great result and 3 points.
That was just his general play, the way the game started. I thought he just was like a world-class player. That's what he looked like straight away, and I thought he was one of their experienced lads, and I just thought, listen. And then I just kept a close eye on him for the rest of the game, and everything he'd done throughout the game, it just had quality written all over it. And obviously it looks a small kid, but a big composure about him. And I'm looking forward to seeing him again today.
So, early part of the game, you were sitting slightly deeper and playing those passes and breaking the lines. The second part of the game, towards the end, you're breaking in and break. But you set one up for Tino there. As literally, he's like, you must have thought, pull the trigger.
When I seen Tino, is like, do I shoot or do I pass it? And I says, nah, he's going to score.
Yeah.
Playing with Tino, Tino doesn't miss, and I don't know what happened.
I don't know, you probably don't know this because it's our job to keep tally of these things, but Frank has given 8 debuts this season, including, obviously Tino got a little go against Grimsby as well. 8 plus Tammy and Fikayo Tomori, who played once under Gus Hiddink a couple of years ago when you were, however old you were, ridiculously. That's a ridiculous amount of academy players in a team that is 4th and still 4th. This isn't a team that are 16th or in the Championship or League 2 or something. It's amazing how many of you are coming through.
Yeah, I know. Well, I talk about trust all the time with the gaffer, but that just shows how much trust he has in the youth players when they come down to train, and you can take your opportunities. And you seen today when they came on, they done well. When Mindo was running the channels, winning free kicks, and Tino nearly had a goal and was doing well, getting 1v1s. But no, it was overall a great performance and a good day for Chelsea.
He was a young player that burst onto the scene. So too with these two. Billy Gilmour didn't look phased, did he?
No, fantastic. Dictating the play. Decision making, and then you see him at the end. He's just demanding the ball off more experienced players, and it was great to see when you see a young player like that make his debut in the Premier League. Obviously, his confidence will be high from midweek where he played so well, but no, he's definitely one to keep.
Nice competition within the squad, and we've got a good group now that have gone through some tough times in the last run of games, and sometimes that brings you together, and sometimes we've had a few harsh meetings lately, and I think the harsh meetings have made them focus. I think it's been a good thing. The thing I loved about Billy today was that he played at the base. He was fantastic. The minute we changed and brought Reece on and pushed him up the pitch, he took that on board instantly. All of a sudden he's arriving in the box, he's in high positions, his game intelligence is great. So really pleased. He comes in and he's obviously given me a load to think about in a really positive way. And
I mean, what a performance.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to... It's easy to assess it as, oh, Billy, a kid. Let's talk about his performance. You just assess him as a top performance today. You know, if a world-class midfield player plays like that, you go, yeah, you understand it. Puts his foot in, always available, wants to make ankles, plays the right pass, travels through midfield at the right time. You know that he's quite slight in his stature, Billy, and people go, oh, he looks like a boy. He's huge in his personality. He's huge in his personality and his talent. I'm delighted for him. Really, feet are on the ground as well, really down to earth. I was there the day he signed with his family a few years ago. I've seen him develop. He's got work to do, he knows that though, but that performance was great.
There's lots impressed me about him tonight, in terms of the way he protected the back four, in terms of the way he crunched into tackles. But when I watch Chelsea a little bit with Jorginho in there, yes, he's neat and he's tidy and he plays these little 5 and 10 yard passes to the left, to the right. Billy tonight actually went forward. His first thought was, when he won that ball, can he drive forward or can he pass it forward? And for a forward, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why Chelsea look better going forward tonight, because of him, when that first thought was, can you go instead of left or right?